Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to the channel, IndigoAngel. Come on into this dimension, guys, and come on into this cosmic grid update. Now, it's been a little while since I did do a cosmic grid update on my channel, so I'm just getting back into things as I've been coming out of teaching the Goddess Spirit Warrioress Bootcamp course with Marguerite Rigoglioso, which wrapped up on February 4th. So I've just needed a little bit of time to integrate all of the extensive information that came in that course, really filter through what it is I'm being shown on a bigger scale according to the planetary grid networks, and just kind of start to piece together and weave together the fabric templating in which I am being shown upholds this massive mother spider grid inside of the earth. So we are going to talk about this mother spider grid. I am going to pull some of my old work as it did become relative in the coursework, to kind of exemplify what are some of the core structures inside of this mother grid, and then talk about how this ultimately expands out into multifunctioning global Earth systems. And then we're going to, tie it into what does this mean in terms of spiritual evolution on this planet and where we are heading. And so there's a lot to get into. I'm excited to dive into it with you guys today. This is probably going to be a work in progress. So at some point, I would like to design graphics and diagrams that actually show the leveling up tiers and the multifaceted functioning of this mother spider grid inside of the earth, which upholds the organic mother consciousness, the organic mother super consciousness field. It upholds the cellular structures to the divine mother mitochondria and all of these things. So I'm going to get into these details more, as this is something that I think is going to be unfolding for some time, because there's so much to this. There's no way that I could touch on all aspects of it, but I want to try to touch on some of it today just to get y'all a deeper level of how the planetary ascension cycles really do support the organic systems. And this is what's being activated and upgraded according to grandmother cycles and the number 13. So I'm going to talk about that for just a moment. But I want to say to you guys, happy Valentine's Day. It's the day of the lovers. It's a beautiful and fun pagan festival that encourages love and even physical lust and admiration to some degree. So I hope you guys have a special someone that is willing to make some small effort or gesture to show you that you are loved, appreciated, and adored on this beautiful day. And if you don't, that's okay too. Love yourself. Work on that wholeness with your own inner divine union, with your own inner masculine, inner femininity, and just celebrate the love that you have for yourself, right? So it can go all kinds of sorts of ways. I was blessed to receive some flowers from my divine partner, and also a beautiful balloon that says Te amo, which means I love you. So it's fun for me. I feel like to get things like this as a woman, it's always a beautiful surprise to receive flowers. You know how we love flowers. So I want to talk a little bit about just the number of frequency synchronicities I've seen come up with Valentine's Day, which is representative to the number 13. And I know you're thinking, wow, this is February 14th. What does 13 have to do with it? So one thing I noticed is that it is celebrated, Valentine's Day is celebrated precisely 13 days after Imbog, which Imbog is a Celtic or like Irish tradition, which represents the beginning of spring, and the time between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And so Valentine's Day kind of sits 13 days between this, which is actually its natural and normal cycles. So 13 is what ties in the fabric of the mother spider grid. 13 is what ties in the avatar consciousness. 13 is what the moon travels across the sky each day, 13 weeks in each of the 4 seasons. There are 13 lunar menstrual cycles each year. There are 13 cycles for ending and rebirthing in a new cycle. There are 13 weeks between equinox and solstices. 13 is the power number in nature and spirit, and 13 is the only number, teen number in the Fibonacci spiral. So 13 is a prime number that is incorruptible in nature, as we have 13 articulation joints in the body, representing power and movement of all feminine forces in the planet. And it goes on and on. There's so much with the number 13. But unfortunately, it's also a very hijacked number. The number 13 has been casted demonic, rebellious, and lawless according to the Bible. And it's labeled as a superstitious number to steer you away from honoring your harmonious totality of natural flows and cycles and ever-unfolding divine sacred spiral and original angelic self. It also has a lot to do with the Fuchsius, the serpent bearer, which they've tried to remove from astrology and keep it out of the mainstream, because this is where the corruption took place, was in the Ophiuchus system. And this is where they try to suppress the serpent energy, basically hijack the Hydra colonization or inheritance here on the earth. I don't want to use the word colonization, more or less seeding, okay, which is one of the most ancient seedings on the earth is the Hydra system. So they really try to reduce the seraphim energy here with this. Is what they're trying to do is hijack the seraphim and basically put the burning one's fire out, put the burning one's flame out, so that way they can control the consciousness field here on earth. So Valentine's Day is really tied strongly to the frequency of 13. You may have noticed it with the Super Bowl. There was a lot of 13 symbolism coming up as well, being flashed for the Super Bowl. They're really flashing forward a death and rebirth ritual. And they're utilizing it through a loving relationship, right? We have Taylor Swift. She's coming to the games. Everybody's more connected to the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift's love's journey right now, her love story. Taylor Swift being born on the 13th. The Kansas City Chief original owner was born on the 13th. And so there's like this 13 activation. And I think this is coming through the total portal of February, the total portal of the Aquarian activations. And I think it's symbolizing this essence of regarding time and running out of time, so to speak. Okay, so it's making us activate and awaken to time cycles, again, death and rebirth cycles. But also I think it's redirecting us subconsciously and unconsciously back to the 13 equating original mother systems, right? Because I do feel this spiderweb mother grid does radiate through the 13 codes. Okay, it's really what's at the core of the earth. And again, it's what's most harmonious with the moon. As you guys heard me just talk about all of these lunar cycles and things that are connected to the number of 13. 13 is the most powerful number in observable nature. 1 + 3 = 4. And the numerological number 4 represents planet Earth. So I think that we're really just getting these deeper activation codes that are kind of running through the organic mother grid. And it's really, I think, to awaken us up to this fact. So I think this is perfect timing to get into this cosmic grid update, to really bring forth components of the mother grid and frequency that are important for everyone to start to be able to identify how this light body, spiritual immune system, spiritual soul body of the planet, the great spirit, operates and functions on and through. So let's get into that in just a second. I also wanted to just say thank you to everyone who attended the Goddess Spirit Warrioress Bootcamp. The outcome of this course was one of the best ones I think I've had. Was truly amazing. Everyone who attended does know how rich and soul nurturing the Sacred Container event was, how much it upgraded our systems. We spoke about everything from matriarchy in modern times to the history of the Amazonian goddesses and legends and the queen ships that came forward according to these. And we also went extensively into our Empower Her series, which I had a bunch of little tidbits to upgrade the goddess, empower the goddess throughout the course. And so we had a really deep inner focus to nurture that inner warrioress goddess's light body field with shields and sacred relics, to also interpreting the truth of the Christos mission and the archons and what all of this means in terms of the dark forces. And so we talked about advanced spiritual techniques and modalities to fortify the light body and higher levels of protection and defense systems against the dark forces. It was jam-packed, you guys. Jam-packed. I was so exhausted after the 4 days. I needed almost like a whole week to recuperate, recover, integrate the codes, because I really do feel like it was some of both mine and Marguerite's best work that we brought forward. And I have been feeling the last week after the 4-day event that my psychic abilities and my awareness has massively increased. Okay. I could recognize it through session work that I was doing. I had like new fields and reservoirs to tap into that I haven't had before, in terms of my psychic depth perception. And so it just was incredible. I can't ever expect that to happen when we hold these big containers, but it did happen. And I'm so thankful because I really feel like as much as I was there to help upgrade others, I got a massive upgrade as well in terms of light, knowledge, psychic depth perception, just my overall intellectual awareness, all of it. I had more embodiment of my own personal higher self identity, and also my ability to read others' higher self and then transmit those messages to them, be able to transmit what the higher self is trying to say. So it's just been so amazing. The weaving process of all of this, the integration processes, it's been very much in alignment to my mission and the recorrection, rescue, and restore land codes that I do think are coming through at this time regarding the mother consciousness super field of intelligence in the earth. This is where we're getting the upgrades, you guys. It's in the mother template. It's in the mother mitochondria. It's in the mother cells. So I want to talk about this. This is going to be a big project, I feel like, for me going forward. As you said, I would like to honor this entire template in a graphic design, multi-level, multi-layer system that people can truly come to interpret it. So that's going to probably be my next phase of designing. But again, I'm going to talk about what I have. Given we have these loving activations today for the 14th, the 13th, 14th, for Valentine's Day, we have loving codes. I really think these loving codes come through the mother grid template. Like, this is a gift from the mother grid. And the mother grid, okay, the mother spider grid, I'm calling it. This is the biggest and most activated grid within the earth. I mean, this is the fabric that holds life together itself. Nothing comes close in terms of planetary weapons and modification systems, the negative predatorial parasitic grids, the black magic grids, the AI grids, the artificial spheres and holograms, whatever it is, right? This grid outdoes all of that. It's completely propelled through the organic planetary spiritual defense systems, which I've talked about planetary defense systems in the past, places such as Easter Islands, that there are special technologies there that function to defend the earth spiritually, legitimately, for real. I'll have to put that video down in the description so you guys can go watch the 2 videos that I did on planetary modifications, weapon systems, and also the spiritual defense systems of the earth as well. So as much as we have negative here, we have positive fighting and defeating. And I don't want to use fighting, but let's just say balancing the scales of nature, balancing the scales of light and dark. And so this mother grid, which is the core of everything, right? This is a multi-dynamic, multi-creational, multi-earth, okay, template, dimensional inner core spiritual earth body architecture that radiates out. Okay, it radiates out through the grid mother holographic fabric fiber inside of the earth, upholding all life from physical to every holographic dimension that is here. It's upholding all bio and autogenetic life. And autogenetic is basically what we are. We are birthed from ourselves, and the original mother mitochondria was birthed from herself. Okay, so this puts accountability and responsibility back into the creation process, okay, back into who we are, and what we believe in about ourselves, right? This grid also sustains all planetary light grid fields, okay, all of the supporting light grid fields, all of the fabrics that operate through true spiritual innocence, such as the Lemurian light grid 1, which I'm going to talk about. This mother grid functions through all organic crystal structures in the earth, which is basically the power generators to the earth's emotional memory and information fields. Okay, hence why in Atlantis during fall time, what was corrupted? The organic crystal generators, power generators, okay, because they had to go be turned off or basically blown up to take down the mother grid, okay, because the mother grid is what defends, fights, supports, bring forwards justice, balance to the earth, and doesn't allow the dark forces to basically take over her entire planetary network. Okay, so they had to find a way to shut down her generators to enter the collective into a fall state. This is important. This all ties in, but essentially those crystal generators are very important. Okay, they hold all of the Earth's emotional memory, information fields stored within the mother access gateways. Okay, so these are templates that I'm talking about that are inside of the earth, they're inside of the mountains, they're underneath the mantle, they're underneath the oceans. They're underneath the inner earth mantle oceans. They're deep within the cave systems, the trench systems, the cavern systems, the canyon systems. And essentially they function to uphold the earth's living great spirit, essentially. They're all functioning from the planetary mother mitochondria cell field inside of the planet. And during the Goddess Spirit Warrioress Bootcamp, I did a channeling where I went down in to restore those mitochondria cell fields inside of the earth. And what they looked like was a collective inner earth cell grouping core creation consciousness field. Okay, that was many overlapping and interlaying orbs, which were consciousness fields of the cells of the mother grid. And what I seen is inside that is they were holding DNA bonded codes into every single living thing on this earth. Okay, so when we say we are one, we all came from the same, it's true. It's 100% true. We all descended from the one single mother mitochondria chromosome and cell. Every single person on this earth, every single goddess and god that's ever walked the earth. Okay, so within this sphere, it's radiating through the race morphogenetic sphere. It's radiating through the planetary noosphere. It's radiating through the halls of Amenti. It's radiating through the planetary Akashic field of memory. It's radiating through the 0-point earth-based crystal mother water zones in the earth, the dragon zones on the earth. It's upholding the fifth dimensional template according to the dragon's body. This is at the core. This is the core of that. It's then running through global collective reflection waves that sustain the Earth's total magnetic body, the auric and the higher and lower astral fields. It's all encompassed within this mother spider grid. I'm calling it the mother spider grid because this is really about weaving. Okay, the whole structure is about weaving. So you're going to have to get into your holographic vision right now to understand that there are mechanics, light body mechanics, okay, celestially, interplanetary integrated. There are mechanics that function everything and uphold everything on this earth. Okay, and so the mother spider grid is weaving this organic life body into the next organic life body, into the next organic system, into the next organic functioning of clearing systems, cleansing systems, Stargate systems, arcing systems, portal systems, vortices. Okay, everything down to the human level, okay, down to the level in which we go to these vortices to be activated, to restore the natural and organic life body of the earth, the creation of the feminine earth grid template, which upholds everything here on this earth to be accounted for, technically. This is what sustains life for you, but we don't recognize it, we don't realize it, and we don't see it. Those of us who are grid workers, those that have evolved into planetary ascension capacities to understand how dynamic these systems are, we see this vast network. We see the holographic weaving that upholds multiple layers of this template. But for those of you that are not quite yet there into the grid worker journey, these are all concepts that sit with outside of your field that are merging in to be embodied. Okay, it's a matter of time. As long as your biological ascension markers set to tick off within your genetic design to go further into the ascension capacities and processes that go beyond the indigo type 2 templating. Okay, so if that's going to take place within your field, then you will achieve the avatar realm. You will achieve the 13th 0-point field that ties you into this information and basically gives you access to remote view the structures or just to interpret them internally as well. Either way, it's the same thing. So all of this mother spider grid sustains this life on this earth for you within the Vecca multi-milliverse. Okay, within the Vecca multi-milliverse. I say this because as there are many layers to this spider mother grid, there are inner structures and quantum inner structures that keep going deep within its core. Okay, so there's outer layers that expand bigger structures inside of the earth. And again, this is what carries and houses the great spirit of the earth, the great mother spirit, the great universal mother mind field. Okay, and we are shifting into the concepts of Mother God consciousness. Okay, that is what the whole goddess rising is all about. When we talk about the Sophia's Code, when we talk about the Lemurians coming and their seedings in Lemuria, when we talk about the archaic revival of Lemuria, when we talk about anything really, according to New Age concepts of spirituality that go beyond the religious structures, we are talking about the feminine goddess rising and how this return of the goddess rising is imperative for the New Earth prophecies to unfold. It's imperative that this energy comes forward to be identified as it holds the gateways for all of the nurturing growth of humanity to actually take place into the new age, into the new root races. Okay, so all of the things that sustain this, okay, without that great spirit, without that mother great spirit, the weaving of the spider would stop. Okay, which means that plants and trees would cease to exist. Okay, these plants and trees can't exist without Mother Spirit, Great Mother Spirit. Rivers and waterfalls would dry up because the life force flows within them. Sacred birthing pools would dissipate. Okay, we have sacred marriage pools, we have sacred fertility pools. All of these things would cease to exist, which means reproduction and creation would stop. Planetary chakras like Machu Picchu and Glastonbury, mother arcing stargates like Uluru, they would all die. They would literally shut their functioning down. Okay, if they weren't tapped into the mother grid fabric, because this is what supports and weaves in the energy into their vortices. The planetary's consciousness and spiritual immune system would rapidly fall and decline. Okay, our collective consciousness would then deeply fall again, cataclysmically, like Atlantis. and the King Hatred, Lord of Darkness, would rule the earth again. So this is how important this mother spider grid is, okay? This is about weaving in all of the functioning of creation itself and the spiritual fortification in which supports this completely. Okay, so, and yes, I said King Hatred. And I said King Hatred because this is the emotional lens in which the reptilians degraded 10th sphere tree. Okay, this is what they see. They see through their two eyes. Okay, they don't see through the third. And if they do see through the third, it's utilized for corruption and deception tactics. Okay, they use it for negative agenda, but they use their second eye to see through the emotional lens of hatred, anger, jealousy, all things serving the I self. And one way you can kind of look at it is if you look at like a crocodile, right? If you were to walk up to a crocodile, would you be greeted with a smile? Or a snake, if you were to walk up to a snake, these are both powerful reptilian bodies on the earth, would you be greeted with a loving hug? No, you wouldn't be. You would be confronted with an immediate dance of survival, an immediate survival battle royale, hissing, sharp teeth, strikes. They function from the emotions of what it takes to kill. Okay? Where do you think that comes from? It comes from an emotional release of cortisol, hormones, and glandular systems, endocrine system, whatever these reptilians are working with. Okay? It comes through the emissions of the emotions of hatred or just survival, right? Like, which to survive, you have to kind of pull your emotions out, right? And you have to be willing to take the strike, to attack. Okay, so there's a disregard for life. There's a disregard for all beings on this earth, basically being able to share its resources here. And this is the mindset of the reptilian body. The reptilian body is one of the strongest survivalists on the battlefield, okay, within the lower density fields, within the lower astral, within the 3D realms, within the lower astral warfare zones experienced in 3D. Okay, so this is just to put a little bit of this into perspective for you that when the spirit body of the earth and the mother spider grid declines or takes a huge hit, that's what's going to happen is these particular genetics switch on according to the density phases that the earth is experiencing biologically. And so this is what amps up and comes more forward. And this is how you know we're not quite there yet, that the earth isn't actually fallen. The earth right now is in a fourth dimensional state. The higher earth is ascended already, and she's trying to pull humanity through those ascension earth realms to exist and live on, essentially. But right now, she's maintaining a fourth dimensional field consciousness of duality that plays out and exists here for us to be mostly seen, felt in the 3D experience. Now, I want to put something else into perspective for you here is one of the deception tactics that is playing out right now in terms of the spiritual community and just community in general, like collective in general, looking at the Super Bowl. They want us to look to a person. They want us to look to a spirit. They want us to look to an energy, such as Satan, such as Malak, such as Lucifer, and blame these spirits, blame these energies, blame these persons to come to understand the dark forces and how they play against us, right? But it's important for us to understand that this is much of a mask. This is much of a deception tactic in inverting people in truth to creating an illusion that's not allowing them to go to the core of where this is. Okay, so the energy in which contains their darkness is where you are actually going to pierce their veil. It's actually in the energy itself. So it's not in the name. It's not in Satan's name or Lucifer's name. It's in their emotion in which they dwell. Okay, so the emotion is where it dwells, basically. This is how we can extract it from the earth. So if you're a grid worker, this is how you can pull it out of the gate systems, the reversal gate systems, is you tune into the emotion in which it dwells to heal it, to restore it, to adequately extract it from the earth. You have to go into what they function from. They function from hatred. Okay, they function from anger. They function from all of the lower vibrational energies of misery. Okay, and so it's important that you guys know the difference here if you can. Okay, don't fear the beings, don't fear the entities, don't fear the forces of their power fields. Feel into the emotions in which they exist from. And here is where you can clear it. Here is where you can wipe this consciousness free from what's running through the karmic hubs of understanding. Okay, and this is where you can reevaluate those fields and then level up those fields according to higher consciousness, according to source, according to the law of one. I just feel like that was an important thing to explain to you guys because it was like an aha moment for me last night. Because I feel so deflected all the time. I feel like I'm being deflected to, what is this spirit? What is this entity? What do they do? What does this do? It's really just about the emotion and the frequency and the vibration in which they're called in and attracted to according to one's central nervous system, according to, contracts that have been made, things like this. But at the end of the day, in order to get to the depth of it, you have to go by the emotion in which they function from. There's a lot of deception tactics with the archons. Basically, this is the name of their game. The archons came here to work on behalf of the Dracos, work on behalf of the Anunnaki reptilian bodies, okay, and enforce the King of Tyranny domination codes on the planet, predominantly in a masculine template, and override the females with force breeder programs. I spoke about this extensively also in the Goddess Warrioress Bootcamp as well. Which is still available for you guys to access and get if you want to take that course. It's at learn.indigoangel222.com. But essentially, I talk about a lot of this in much more detail, and so does Marguerite, tying it into the Christos mission and how they dealt with the archons as well, and what kind of played out for them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Okay, so just look at this Tiamat grid for just a moment. So I really feel like this is the core foundation to the Mother Spider grid. This is kind of where it begins or starts. This is the inner core halls of Amenti, Hall of Records, reflection of the entire universe, the hexagonal honeycomb Tiamat matrix of 5D inner body of Earth, which the hexagonal honeycomb is really at the basis of the flower of life. This is the true geometry or template that supports the flower of life creation and the cosmic heart pulse from the point of all union that creates life on Earth. So this ties together the cosmic interplanetary structures, living light from cellular forms, which again uphold all of organic original mother creation grid fabric. There are several layers and connection points to this within the planet and their locations and what these systems function, do, and what they run into. What they entail is what I want to go over with you guys to gain a picture of how massive these regenerative systems are. And again, this has been revealed to me through examining the locations of the Amazon Warrioress's history among the North African womankind matriarchal pilgrimage of ancient Amazonian female history to Greece to the Black Sea. And just this legacy and prophecy fulfilling of the goddess rising in the ancient era, which I do feel all of these locations in which the Amazonian warrioress resided, this is a part of this grid network. So everything from North Africa to Algeria to Tunisia to Libya to Egypt to Ethiopia to Sudan to the Tassilis frescoes in the National Tassilis Sahara. This is all Mother Goddess land. So really Africa, right? Africa is the mother continent. Africa is what we will all come back to if the mother grid goes down again. We will be coming back to the lands of Africa because this is where the codes will settle. This is where the codes will stay for regeneration, for rejuvenation. This is where planetary fall and recovery protocol resides. It's in the African landmass. Enacted under the mother grid contracts made and enforced through order restructuring and rehabilitating of the weaving and webbing matriarchal societal systems in to ensure humankind's survival. These were super consciousness orders from the mother grid. So everything that happened in history, from the first Amazon that ever existed to the last, was a super consciousness order from the mother grid. Okay, these were land codes emitted through the African land body, which is the chosen lands of the mother to come through, weaving together several timelines, weaving together lineages, weaving together lifetimes, generational, positive, surviving oriented hives, okay, collectives, minefields, surviving positive oriented hives, mother vortices, and interlinking fabrics to sustain the core of the web while humanitarian upgrades are being received. So it kind of makes me laugh about the Georgia Guidestones, right? Like, that was such a good attempt of trying to override the mother systems. And it's usually done by the Aquilan system. So it's the militarization of Aquila, along with Draco, along with Anunnaki, as they like to disguise themselves through the Aquilan system to anchor patriarchal forces in the planet. But essentially, this is functioning, the core of the mother template is functioning from the original 5D Tiamat inner earth radiance template of the organic and flowering flower of life. So I actually have a video of this. I'll just play it for you guys, and then we'll talk about these light fabrics here. Just got done watching it a minute ago. So this is the natural flowing flower of life, creation structures. Now, you have to really understand planetary warfare history of our Earth to understand how this mother fabric can be what it is. Okay, so I'm going to go over that briefly here with you guys. At the beginning of the original planetary universe, it was different from what we have now. Okay, in the beginning, there was only Tiamat, and Tiamat existed between the Sun and Mercury. It was only these three planets that ruled. And Tiamat had 11 moons. The largest moon was Kingsu, according to Sitchin. Okay, but a lot of Tiamat's records and information has been channeled according to many other scholars and people who have written about Tiamat. Okay, so you can find Tiamat and a lot of other works as well if you're not a Sitchin fan. But I just I don't agree with everything Sitchin has said. I feel like he is definitely an Anunnaki. Okay, he is a reptilian high gene code body. But this part about Tiamat, I paid attention to. So this moon was so large, it became a celestial god. This moon carried the Tablet of Destinies, which is a planetary energetic artifact that bestows great power on its beholder. And you can actually wear it as a breastplate. As you know, we can install relics into our field to upgrade our spiritual armor. Now, a lot of warfare was sought after and fought over these tablets of destiny between Enki and Enlil. But what happened is there was ultimately an invader, Marduk and Maldek, which was actually believed to be Nibiru. These were one and the same, and Tiamat was the mother of the previous solar system. The creation of Earth was believed to have been born from a great planetary celestial battle that occurred. It was the moons of Marduk and Maldek that which imploded, curved, and collided with Tiamat's body, and Tiamat was eliminated as a member of our old solar system. It's always been a universal celestial planetary war between celestial gods fighting a winged monster, the dragon that was called Tiamat. It's been about a war between Marduk versus Tiamat. Marduk's moon split Tiamat in half, and the lower parts of her smashed into bits and pieces and became what is called the celestial bracelet, which is the asteroid belt that orbits around Jupiter and Mars. And this also contains fragments of Marduk's moon and some of Marduk's body as well. The celestial lunar battle of the moons and Tiamat have everything to do with what created the moon chains, and all that battle memory from these wars of Earth's creation is held on the moon. The moon is tied directly energetically to the Tiamat grid, and Tiamat brought forth the seed of life in Earth, which emanates the organic flower of life, which you could only expect the webbing spider mother grid to be functioning from the organic flower of life. This is what the mother's grids do, is we create life, right? So we are, the womb is the flower of life. The earth is the flower of life. The core template of the organic 5D earth consciousness is the flower of life. Tiamat's hexagonal crystal seed code is said to be held at the base of our spine and our fetal crystal cells, where we can refine the crystal bodies from the blossoming of the point of creation, from the honeycombs crystals in our fields. All of this matters so much right now because it directly correlates to the destruction of the Sophianic body and Tiamat's flower of life that was implanted with the Metatronic parasite. Okay, so really this is just a galactic parasite that's trying to feed off of this spiritual immune system structure. But this I do feel is the base of the mother spider grid. And this is what we should be looking at to come to understand how this functions and how it's supported within the Earth's grid. Now, there's more to this system. And again, I talk about this greatly in the course, but I go over each one of these Lemurian light grid fabrics. We have light grid fabric 1, the dove light grid fabric 2, the swan light grid fabric 3. Each one of these fabrics of light are organic and supporting nature and nurture, organic and supporting everything that is beyond corrupted. Okay, this goes beyond AI, it goes beyond all of this stuff. Now, if you are to join the coursework, you're going to get a PDF download that has all of these pictures of these light grid fabrics in it and how you can actually work with them to induct them in your own body, to utilize and upgrade your grid fields within your own body to attune them to the supporting light fields within the earth. But so each one of these light grids are layers and fabrics within that great mother spider grid. So it's encompassing multiple layers of light fields, radiation templates that serve as the original sacred light grid serving the planet. And so the original Lemurian light grid 1, this one serves as a keeper of the original priests and priestesses birthrights. It's embodying healing capacities and sacred spiritual abilities according to the pre-fall timelines of the original Lemurian spiritual human light body. The installation of this intricate lattice of light breathes life into the light body template, reviving the true spiritual nature and fostering our harmonious connection with the earth and humanity, the mother spider grid. The designed for inner earth patterning. Okay, so it's been designed for inner earth patterning. The X intersections create inward vortices that draw time fields into them, with each X point symbolizing the inner magnetic permeability integral to the portals that unlock universal stargates and mother arcing systems. Okay, so this is just a fabric or a layer within this mother spider grid that's actually upholding structures to mother arcing stargates. The diamond interspersed in between signify refined crystal body templates. This consciousness crystal grid intricately plugs your biofield into 24 purity points on the earth, strategically located at high mountain peaks and connected to diamond and rare gem crystal mines. These locations, known as seraphim light arcs, are believed to house the guardians of the earth and serve as conduits to the future light cities on earth. Okay, so that's the Lemurian light grid 1. Dove light grid 2, which holds the freedom and peace codes, and then the Swan grid, which upgrades the planet to the 144,000 harmonics. Now, I'm not going to go into all explaining like the super details of these, because if you want this information, then you'll need to join the Goddess Spirit Warrioress Bootcamp and get the 45-page book download that I have written about this information that came with that course. But basically, this is the light fabrics that have been channeled according to the greater picture of this mother spider grid. Now, I want to share with you guys how this is expanding. So I talked about how extensive this mother spider grid is. It's going from the spiritual, structural, holographic geometries and dynamics from the core creation point of the flower of life, really ultimately from the seed of life, then to the flower of life, then to these light grid fabrics that uphold the spiritual immune system of the planet. And then it moves into the outer mantle layers. Okay, then it moves to the locations themselves in which are supporting this from the outside layers, right? The breathable layers, the beyond the mantle, okay, into the 3D. So let me share some charts that I have done. Okay, so you guys can see my map here. This is just some charted locations I did according to Lunar Gate System. So what's happening is as we go from holographic inner Earth architecture and mechanic, we then expand from the inner Earth mantle layers to the outer. So then we start to move into continental shelf consciousness, the rising and falling into the primordial sea, deep water Earth portals on and off Earth, living volcanic spirit networks, inner Earth crystal and diamond caverns and diamond discs, inner Earth light cities, inner Earth seraphim cities, and under mantle water diamond oceans. Now, the inner Earth crystal and diamond cavern diamond architecture systems, these are discs that are located in the North and South Pole regions, and they were installed over 120 million years ago in the timelines of Gondwana. These disks were imported from other star systems such as Andromeda, Cygnus, Pleiades, the seventh central sun, and are at the core of the planetary diamond architecture, the rare gems and crystal caverns and diamond mines on the Earth. They are architecture for the webbing mother spider grid. They are architecture for the spiritual immune system of the planet. It was built so that the planet could withstand pole shifts, solar storms, changing firmaments, and stratospheres. The internal spiritual diamond Earth is divided into 3 diamond crystal parts in this upgrading. The entire diamond crystal star matrix of our internal sun is coming online. The inner Earth diamond codes, oceans below the mantle, are coming online. And all of this is activating. So it runs through high peak nodal points. Now, I had this charted, the high peak nodal points. This isn't the chart for the high peak nodal points. This is the chart for the lunar gate systems, which is also equally important to the mother spider grid. But the high peak nodal points, you can just think of it as if this map is just kind of representing those as well, because that does kind of look similar. The locations are similar to also the lunar gate systems, which is what you're looking at. But the high peak nodal points, these are considered conscious crystal grid locations, most predominantly located at high mountain tops. They are considered the breast of the mother, the peak of the tips of the nipples, the high nature and nurture locations, housing the seraphim light access points and ancient and lost grandmother tree sites. The Pleiadians created this crystal grid with the radial signature guidance of their progenitor mother race, Hydra. Approximately 200,000 years ago, I know I'm going completely against the narrative of galactic history to say that Hydra is the primordial progenitor race to the Pleiadians, but the markings in the Earth stargates do not deny this. Each one of these 24 crystal points is a stargate that anchors in the purity of the Earth's celestial consciousness. Each one of these points hold the crystal consciousness seeds of the original Earth builders, and most to all Earth builder sites carry serpent cosmology states and artifacts. So the Pleiadians put themselves into a quantum state all over the Earth's grids in these various locations during the timeline of Lemuria, and they basically upgraded these high nodal peak points. Okay, so each one of these locations is also each holding time capsules that release in accordance with stellar alignments that sweep the global Earth grids and release information for individual humans, collective soul egregores, and also to the Earth's total consciousness body and the race morphogenetic field. These are the Earth's benevolent designs and what should be being used to tap into for those that are holding the genetic imprint and crystalline design with them for global healing. So 24 is an important number. Okay. The Anango people, the ones that are the traditional guardians of Uluru, one of the most famous mother arcing sites on the planet. They work within the 24th strand of the DNA. The 24th is extremely significant to the highest mother ruling dimension. The highest mother grid template, dimensionally speaking, is 24th density. Okay. It appears through the cosmic mother rainbow's dragon relationship to the Maharic Rishi blue sun, okay, which may be Sirius, okay, and then there's a generating process from the 23rd dimension. There's a sapphire flame and that radiates into the 24th, and then radiates down to the 10th dimensional sapphire crystal body and solar star, which is the Tiamat dragon's consciousness. So from the 10th dimension to the 24th, this is all where the higher Earth consciousness actually functions. It does not function below 13. It does not function below 10. If that gives you some perspective of where we are not even tapping in to the housing great spirit consciousness of the Earth, which is 10 through 24. Okay, so all of the crystal grid locations for these high mountain peak points, Maui and Kauai, Hawaii, Tibesti Mountains in Chad, Africa, Lake Titicaca, Bolivia, Peru, Mount Kailash in Tibet, Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. I've written about all of these extensively. I'll just leave links in the description so you can go and read the writing because I don't have time to recap these locations. But these all connect into the mother arcing sites, which are the gate holders, 13-dimensional gate holders that take you into the 1313 magnetic code and Sophianic consciousness on the Earth. Okay, so I've talked about that before as well on the channel. Talking about these 1313 magnetic codes. February 14th, really aligning to the 13th, as we talked about coming in. Okay. Essentially, these mother arcing sites hold the 1313 magnetic code that uphold the mother grids in the outer fields. Okay. And this is where they hold access points to the womb worlds, the crystallized dragon serpent eggs worldwide, and into the original universal core Tiamat grid. That allows us to see between the dark mother templates and its artificial reversals of mother energies reflected by lunar wars that brought forth and chained the feminine to enslavement systems. So the real mother principle is within the sacred crystal diamond bodies of the universe and flows within the holy eternal spirit of the universe. The main feminine vortex on the Earth sits on the 33rd parallel in front of the Sphinx. It connects directly to the 12 central suns and the 7th central sun and is a massive diamond disk in Antarctica. I do believe I had a map for this. It's a map that you probably can't understand because I don't have time to like explain everything that I was charting. But I believe these were all locations to very famous diamond crystal mines. And then this is representing the diamond disk and Antarctica. So this is the map that I had drawn up to represent that diamond disk running down in Antarctica. But basically, this is what's running the feminine codes from the Sphinx. So there's a straight line here that's going to Egypt. So you can see how it tunes down to the diamond disk. There's this organic ley line that runs to the Sphinx here. This, I don't have time to go over what all these locations are. I believe I was charting other diamond mines and then areas in Africa that had the most crystalline diamond mines that had the most organic diamond architecture. And that's another reason why Africa is the mother continent. that all these codes radiate from is because of the diamond discs and the diamond architecture that resides within the land. And essentially, this is really working the whole entire Earth's organic crystal templating and diamond codes. So the gates are stationed in many different locations, but this is really kind of the templating that upholds the mother arcing sites. Okay, and then this moves on to the next layer, which is the lunar gate systems. I've talked about the lunar gate systems on my channel before. I'll leave a link down in the description for that so you guys can go ahead and read that writing. But the point of today is to give you kind of an overview understanding that there's multiple tiers, multiple levels, multiple layers that are the facets of the Mother Spider Grid template as it expands into different layers of networking systems to basically uphold and support humanity's ascension and evolution and consciousness here, to fight back against the negative invader grid templates and planetary modification weapons that they have. Okay, this is an entire functioning, multifaceted fabric that is working on the behalf of unconditional love, which is what Valentine's Day should ultimately be about. Unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, unconditional healing, unconditional acknowledgement, unconditional acceptance. Okay, this is the fabric of the fortified light fields that hold this together from the point of creation from within the earth. It's an entire functioning webbing mother spider grid system that radiates from the land of Africa. I even brought up my original charted swan grid template, if I have it. See if I can find it. I gotta search it up here. I talked about this one a while ago. Okay, so you guys can actually purchase this one on my website at IndigoAngel222.com. They're just like PDF downloads that you can, I haven't put all of my other ones up there. I'm thinking about putting them up. But again, you have to go to the course to get that booklet if you want those other diagrams. But this one, it's really like holding the Cygnus. So you've seen how I had the Tiamat grid, the Lemurian grid, the Dove grid, and the Swan grid. The Swan grid is like the highest emanation of the mother grid field and higher consciousness, the higher mother spiderweb grid, right? Like tying and weaving in all the light systems together. So this one, this is how it expands from Africa. Really, the core of this, like the diamond back, is in Libya. Okay, Libya is the birthplace of the goddess. Libya is where we had Lake Triton. Okay. And Tunisia, I'm sorry, Libya and Tunisia. And so the Lake Triton went through Libya and Tunisia, and this held the city of 100 gates, Chot el Jarid. And this is where all of the major goddesses came forward. Goddess Neith, okay, the mother of us all of these original North African goddesses that basically birthed the legends in which Egypt sustained themselves upon, Greece sustained themselves upon, Rome sustained themselves upon, everything surrounding the Mediterranean, activating that mother extension around the Mediterranean, okay, around this beautiful womb water here. This is the birthplace and expansion of the mother goddess grid and where it comes from, where it expands into. So everything is taking flight from Africa regarding the sacredness of the mother super consciousness field on the planet. And it's coming through the diamond architecture from Africa. This is where it radiates into our consciousness field. But ultimately, it's a multifunctioning complex system that you've seen goes all the way down to the core. So I feel like what's coming in my future is a greater breakdown of this. Okay, much more extensively, getting together all of my work together and really tying this in. I feel like I was trying to do that in this Cosmic Grid update. As you guys can see, it's so extensive that it's going to take some time to really interpret and wrap my mind fully around how to describe this, because it's so holographic and it's so big, it's so vast. It's like literally decoding the mechanics of a car, right? Like, what does each piece do? What does each piece function into? How does it sustain and support the frame of the vehicle? Like, all of this is how this mother spider goddess, mother spider grid is operating here. So, drop it down in the comments if you were able to follow me on this video. Drop it down in the comments if you can see this greater expansion of this mother spider grid and how the interfunctionings of the weaving works, going from the light matrices to the core inner earth creation, flower of life templating, all the way to the outer expressions on the planet, Stargate systems, high peak nodal points, and lunar gate systems, which I didn't have time to get into the lunar gate systems, but again, I'll leave as many references down in the description for you guys as possible. I also want to say to the divine feminine and masculine, if you want more access to be able to fluidly tap and tune into these fields, you can definitely do session work with me to help attune your body to the planetary avatar consciousness and be able to start to shift blockages that will help you to access these radiant fields. One of the best things to do for that is implant removal, getting blockages out of the way. And I highly recommend for something like this to attune to the love frequency of the mother spider grid, the total encompassing mother creation field, that you want to do feminine implant removal because you want to clear out what the female blockages are within this, right? We want to clear out all of the things within the feminine body, because this is what grants you more access to this. How do you think I've granted myself access to this? Through deep levels and layers of clearing feminine implants, going through the force breeder programs, because this is ultimately what's enslaved womankind on the earth, starting with what you would call the Nephilim, or even going back prior to that to Draco, genocidal and Holocaust invasions on the original Lemurian Ioni and Yanas. So there's so much to this, you guys. I hope that this expanded your mind to see deeper into the functioning spiritual immune system of the planet and how it is serving the light, and it is serving creation here. We haven't fallen from 4D just yet. Okay, I'll let you guys know when we fall from that place, because it's gonna be a fall consciousness that hits us hard. Okay, because all of these supporting gate systems wouldn't be standing here supporting us when we hit that timeline. Okay, the dissension timeline will collapse and it will be cataclysmic. Basically, right now, things are still structurally upholding, which is really, really good. This is a blessing upon humanity. I don't foresee this happening in the near future. So as much as all of the crazy stuff is going on, all of the warfare is playing out, let it play out. It's not making it much further past the 5D, I can tell you that much. It's not accessing 10D gate systems, nor is it accessing 24D gate systems, which is what actually supports the entire functioning of the planetary system overall in general. Okay, guys, so yes, I love you all so much. And happy Valentine's Day again. And if someone hasn't told you today that they love you, I'm telling you right now, I love you. You're amazing. Your heart, your light, your soul, your consciousness is a blessing to this earth. You are needed. You are wanted. You belong here. And you are supported. You are supported. Okay. So just know that. And I hope you have a beautiful everything. I'll be back soon with another update.